This this is the conservatives are December 5th, 2016. We've had the Trump transition, and it's a fast-moving transition, and we're having a cabinet in place that looks tremendous, the best we've ever had, and even almost including Ronald Reagan. Um, I actually think better than Ronald Reagan. When you have a cabinet of Ben Carson and Jeff Sessions, you know, Reagan never did anything like that. His Reagan's appointments to his cabinet were generally pretty staid, uh, mainstream conservative picks. Sessions and Carson, these are not mainstream conservative Republican picks. These are people who are going to make changes in theory and are from they're solid conservative movement kind of people. It's absolutely amazing. But we have a handle on what Donald Trump is about right now, and I think we can kind of project in the future a little bit to go out on a limb and say this might be the shape of his presidency. I happen to believe that Donald Trump is near obsessed with the idea of fulfilling his campaign promises. This is a big deal to him. This is a marker for Donald Trump to fulfill his campaign promises. So I think that in terms of his campaign promises, we're on relatively safe ground. Conservatives are on safe ground. That he's going to do is pretty much what he said he was going to do, limited only by some political realities and some changes are going to have to occur on some of his campaign promises. So I do believe we're going to get the Supreme Court right. We're going to get the wall built. We're going to have trade renegotiations. Uh, we're going to have the tax cuts. All of these things that he promised, I'm missing a couple things here, but all of them that he promised, he is going to obsessively try to fulfill those promises so he can say to the American people 6 months from now, I checked all these things off. I did what I promised I would do. And I think that's the number one thing about Donald Trump at this particular moment. One of the problems for conservatives, and we're going to have to realize this, that outside of those campaign promises, what we have left is a relatively pragmatic, new to the race, new to the philosophy conservative, who is going to be not going to be wedded to campaign promises, is going to have a pragmatic, more moderate approach to the rest of his governance. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to have this rush to fulfill promises that he made during the campaigns. I think he's obsessed with it, and I think they will get done in large part. After that, after he gets through that first 6 months or a year, after that, what we're going to have is really a much more moderate president. And I don't say that with great affection. I think he's going to be a disappointment in his later terms to conservatives. And he's going to do things that are going to disturb us a little bit. All in all, his first 2 years, in terms of conservatives, are going to be tremendous. But we're going to be a little bit disappointed going out further. And that'll be especially true in third and fourth years. That this will increasingly be a more moderate president, and then we'll have an election that will be the defining moment of his presidency. So that's what I think is going to go on. I want to extend this a little bit to on one campaign promise that I think that's going to derail, and that is the promise to repeal and replace Obamacare. I believe this is the one that's going to stretch out, and I think it's going to stretch out for a long time. And what we're going to end up with, for those of us who thought that we would get rid of Obamacare and have it replaced by something really, really good and different, which is, by the way, a hope. I haven't yet see it defined what is going to this great conservative health care plan is going to be. I really believe that what we end up with is Obamacare repealed and replaced by Obamacare Trump. And then maybe you can call it Obamacare Trump Ryan. And it will be, for all practical purposes, the same thing we had before. I think this is a real mess in Obamacare, a real mess, and I don't think he can get it done in right away, and I can get all the rest of the stuff that he promised done. So that's the one thing that's going to stretch out, and I think we might be really disappointed with in the short run. But that's the lay of the land. That's what I think Donald Trump is going to do. Very, very fulfill his promises, be conservative through the promise-keeping section of his presidency, which will be about a year, I imagine, and then turn to be a more moderate, pragmatic president. And we'll just have to see, because that's never been done before. So we'll see what's going to happen then. This is the Conservative Czar. See you next time.